pretty interesting time we're living in. You just alluded to the fact you have a new record coming out. You're watching this unseeable monster roll across the globe, knowing that you're about to birth this baby that you put so much time into. When did this first start hitting your radar? Did somebody alert you to it and you were like, whatever? Or were you the one? Or tell me your experience with that.
Well, it started with a show that we had scheduled, and there was a meet and greet component, and I had called in to our agent and said, no meet and greet. I just want to be extra cautious, for everybody's sake. And
when was this?
Well, this was top of March, so probably March 1st.
Okay.
March 2nd, somewhere around there. And I said, and that started the conversation. And I just started to ask questions like, as cases were popping up, we were preparing for this show, and I was talking to our production manager, who got a little message from the production manager on the gig side, on the venue side, and the guy was saying, I don't know if this is going to happen because of this whole coronavirus thing. And at that time, it wasn't like big news. I mean, it was news, but it wasn't like hide your kids news. It was,
right.
It was these people were being super proactive, and thank goodness for it too. So that started the conversation, and it went further with our agent, who's very he's on top of it. He's constantly got his ear down to the ground, and always looking, several pages ahead. And so we've been monitoring it, and it's scary. It's like we don't really know when we're going to play again. And there's all this news flying around, and a lot of it's conjecture, and a lot of it's a lot of it is fueled by news and media and text messages, and it's creating this kind of real fear and craziness.
Right,
people are getting crazy at the Walmart. You know what I mean? And it's a little scary because nobody seems to have a clear. I think the picture's getting clearer now, but 2 weeks ago, it was certainly a very depends on how you look at it kind of approach.
Right.
And so, as far as we're concerned, we're just trying to be ahead of it, trying to be as mindful and as sensitive about the holistic approach. We know we're screwed. I mean, if people can't get together, it's fine, but we're a rock band. It's like it's the farthest thing from important, really. I mean, there are people who have real jobs and depend on the frequency of hours to get their money and to feed their kids or feed themselves or feed their dogs. So that's the real concerning thing for me.
Let's take a step back. When was your tour supposed to start, and how long do they typically go for?
We have our tour starts May 26th, and then we had a production weeks ahead of that. But the first show was May 26th in the UK, and it hasn't been canceled yet. So right now we're still gearing up for it, but sure. I'm not optimistic. I just don't see how it makes any sense. This is not just going to go away.
And okay, so album's done, it's with the label. Did they have a contingency plan, or do they have a I've seen some movies are going directly to on demand because people are home and they have nothing to do, and so they can monetize it there. And I know that this is bigger than everybody making their nut, but I'm always trying to give people, like I said earlier, a perspective on how they can maybe think about their situation and reframe it. So How are the smart people on your team, and how are you thinking about, well, how do we make lemonade out of lemons here?
Yeah, sure. We are staying the course. I think it's situational. I think if we were a new band, I think there might be a different plan for us. But we've been preparing for this. We've been doing interviews. The record's coming out, and
So you're still going to release the record at the same time,
Yeah.
no matter what?
yeah,
Okay.
that's the plan. We might introduce songs earlier, just to. I mean, we have to get creative with this because we're not able to go out there and, play for people right now. And we did that sort of an ad hoc performance in Brandon's bathroom the other day on Kimmel's webisode thing, and which was totally not planned. It was just kind of a thing because we have to get creative. We have to
Right.
tell people, well, we have a record out, that we have songs, and we're not able to play for you, but we're going to figure some other things out.
So you did, I didn't know about that. Tell me about, how did that come about?
Oh, it was kind of a last minute thing. Jimmy called us and said, hey, I'm doing this thing from home because
Yeah.
the studio's shut, and it's kind of like a webisode thing, and everybody is doing it from home. So there's a guy running sound and running video remotely, and Jimmy's got like a little laptop set up
Right.
at his place with Molly, his wife, and his kids, and he's had guests
Just
basically
FaceTime
FaceTime.
in.
Yeah, that's what when you were asking me about doing this. That's when I got to thinking, like, is there some way we can FaceTime? And it was just easy because you're right around the corner from me.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, and so yeah, we did that. We know Jimmy from not from Vegas, but as a Vegas connection. We became friends about 20 years ago.
What was the response to just doing that even? I mean, I feel like people right now are starving for kind of normalcy in a way, and I know that's not normal, but
Well, we have to adjust.
yeah.
We have to sort of, like keep some degree of normalcy. Otherwise, it's going to get dark real quick. For some people, I actually love this right now. I love avoiding people and staying inside with my wife. We cook all 3 meals, and we have our dog, and we're outdoors more. I'm not driving as much. I'm really I'm stoked for the planet at this point. It's going to be able to breathe.
We're hearing about the air in China and the canals in Venice.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
I think it's high time that we get a reset. I think this thing has been trying to shake us off its back for a while now, and it probably needed something like this. As bad as that sounds, I don't mean to sound insensitive to people who have real problems, but as far as the planet goes, with regard to how clean it is, it definitely needs a break.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Michael Blandels used to tell me, yeah, we think we're in charge, and then Mother Earth just sneezes one day.
Yeah.
He used to say that all the time.
It's a true thing. Yeah, we see just how fragile everything is.
Do you think this will change touring, meet and greets, green rooms, all that stuff I'm assuming it's going to change it in the short term, but in the long term, do you think this is a kind of a 9/11 type reframing our new normal, or how do you think this will affect your industry?
I imagine it's going to be there are some people that it just depends on the people. I think as a whole, I think most people will be thinking that there's going to be a new normal, at least in the foreseeable future. Unless somebody says, here's a nice cherry flavored Skittle sized pill that you can take and you're totally immune to whatever bullshit gets passed
Right.
in the air. I don't think people will return to what we were doing, 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm. So if the tour does get delayed or something happens, do you guys Are you guys going to do more web stuff? Is there a contingency plan? Have you discussed like other options? Are you just like, for now, we're just going to focus on this? And
we are discussing other options. I mean, I guess it gives people enough time to sit with the record.
Mm-hmm.
That's always been a thing. It always seems like at the end of the tour, you know, a year later, people really know the songs. And like,
Sure.
you know, when the record just comes out, you're playing these new songs, which you're totally hyped on. But nobody knows them yet, you know. It's just a front row or something. So, you know, I don't know. I think we'll probably make another record.
Yeah.
As well as trying to do something on the creative level to you know, figure something out to tide ourselves and people over, you know, to kind of be able to play these songs for people on a web channel or something, or I might just invite them all over to my house.
That'd be a hot ticket.
Behind glass.
Yeah, right?
Figure something out.
Well, dude, I really appreciate that perspective. You said earlier you don't like when musicians want to give their, you know, advice and perspective out to people, but I think you're a pretty calm, level-headed person. Like, as people are navigating this, how are you translating it? What would, you know, how are you communicating it with your friends? Like, I know what I've been telling people is I think you compartmentalize the virus, you compartmentalize fear, and you control what you can control, and you look at the fact that the Earth's getting, you know, like, how are you thinking about that?
As my approach to what's happening right now?
Yeah.
How am I thinking about it? I mean, I'm just, well, Christian, I bought a freezer. I went to Home Depot and I bought a nice trunk freezer. I'm preparing myself, you know, I don't think that the world is going to shut down or that, you know, even Whole Foods or whatever grocery store is going to shut down. But I do think there is going to be more and more inconveniences with respect to new measures to kind of contain this thing. Store hours, a limit to occupants in an area, that kind of thing. That I'm just trying to make my life remain normal.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm distancing. You've seen one other person, so I feel okay about being, you know, 4 or 5 feet.
Literally, Alec is the first person I've seen in
he looks
about a
healthy.
week. Well, and
He looks okay.
his girlfriend's been in the hospital, and so he's had to be extra careful. So I know he's been extra careful, and like, you know, even our company, everybody's in different places.
Right,
You know?
and I'm just being mindful of that. I mean, if anybody's coughing, whether or not it's a cold or asthma or whatever, just, you know, I would just say stay home. That just seems to make fucking sense.
A cough feels weird now, doesn't it?
I know.
Like I get a tickle in my throat, like just
Yeah.
because, you know, a couple times a day you probably clear your throat.
My wife didn't want to go with me to the grocery store because she was like had a tiny cough, but yeah, she didn't want to get knifed at Whole Foods.
I went in the other day with an air mask on and gloves
Oh, great.
because I think I should be practicing what I preach, being what our company is.
Yeah.
People looked at me like, you know, I had airborne HIV or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm fine. I'm
just looking out for you assholes.
Yeah, but
Right.
it's weird. It's weird to see people now. It's weird to be in a place like I didn't think about it before, and it changes things.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm taking this time to spend more time with, you know, my immediate family, you know, my wife and my dog, and like I said, we cooking 3 meals a day, and we're reading and we're discussing things. I mean, it's kind of like what life should be.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to seem insensitive to people that have this COVID-19 disease, but you know, like I said, I'm just trying to remain normal, calm, and being super prepared.
But I think what you said earlier is very true, and it's why I started my company, and that's that just statistically, this stuff is going to happen more and more, and you either prepare and make sure you can be calm and maybe almost enjoy it, or you find yourself compromised, and then it becomes a stressor,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I think that that's a really smart way to look at it.
Yeah, and you know, I'm trying to tell the people without preaching that I love to just be prepared for when it gets weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it could get weird.
Could get weirder.
It could get
It's a little
weirder.
weird. But I'm with you, man. It's kind of nice.
Yeah,
I'm into
it's
it.
not bad.
Dude, thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks for your
Thanks, man.
perspective. Anything else you want to add? I mean,
No, happy to be happy and healthy.
yeah, man.
Yeah, happy to be happy.
Cool. Thanks, Ronnie, and appreciate it.
I'd shake your hand, but
I know.
you look like you got a little bit of the COVID.
Thanks, man.